Ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, males in the audience especially, you guys deserve to be loved as well. Especially because there are no women. Women are just, are pawns of the woke liberals trying to... All right, that's not how we're starting this video. All right, it is how we're starting this video. It's too late. Editor, it's too late. We've already succumbed to the madness. My guy, Master Samwise, dropped a video on the failed masculinity of Netflix's Sokka. And I am so into this topic. Holy crap. I'm very excited to jump into it because, as you know, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender so freaking much. I think Avatar: The Last Airbender it's one of the GOATs. It's literally one of the GOATs. One of the greatest series ever made. And, well, Netflix fucking killed it, which is so sad. Literally so sad. It's honestly a travesty. And one of the things that they announced before releasing it that was, like, for me, just a huge red flag, was, when they said, oh, there were a lot of problematic aspects to the original Avatar, so, we're changing that. We're gonna fix it up a little bit because, you see, Sokka was a problematic guy. Like, he was sexist here and there, and we're gonna change that. When I saw that announcement before the original, before Netflix actually released their Avatar, I will admit to you, I fucking lost my sanity. It made me very, very sad. Very, very sad. Listen, sexism, obviously bad. Thinking that women are lesser beings than men, obviously bad, all right? That said, so many people go through the stage of becoming a man, and on that path of becoming a man, they have the little misogynist arc, okay? Especially in a fucking society where women weren't the warriors, right? That is what their freaking goddamn culture was about. So, here's the thing. Sokka's character development was so beautiful, recognizing that Katara is badass, recognizing that Toph is badass, recognizing that the Kyoshi warriors were also badass. Like, that was his character arc. Recognizing that his strength is actually in his wit, not in his fighting ability, right? Like, that is such a powerful character arc. And it all obviously meant something because it stemmed from his toxic masculinity that he grew out of, right? It's so powerful. What a powerful message. That message is such a respectful message to women. Okay? And then Netflix comes around. They want to be not problematic, so they just decide to make Sokka a wet paper towel for the entire show.
Warrior, leader. Where these three identities meet, you find Sokka, a boy from a tiny village.
Sokka, these nuts! Alright, sorry.
The South Pole, who learned, despite his inability to whip around fire, water, or rock and stone,
he learned purpose!
Could make a difference far beyond his wildest dreams.
Oh, yeah.
His aptitude in combat.
What a fucking great show. There is nothing like Avatar. Nothing like Avatar.
His ingenuity and his ability to direct, protect, and inspire others enabled him to do what no one else could, even when he was just a regular guy in a world full of fantastic powers.
God, what an inspiring story.
Netflix Sokka seems to only fit into one of these three circles, and then sometimes in a different one. All the writing team fit into one of the.
He doesn't really fit. I feel like for the Netflix Avatar, they use these to check boxes. Like, he calls himself leader, he'll call himself warrior, he'll call himself inventor. Not that his inventions do shit. Not that his leading is actually important by any means, and not that his fighting capability actually matters at all, right? Like, dude, oh, they killed this man. They massacred my boy. He was literally only there because he was a character in the cartoon and they needed to fill his shoes with somebody.
These three circles, and then sometimes in a different one. While the writing team did do a much better job with budget Sokka than they did with knockoff Katara, no surprise there, modern writers.
Huge dub, huge dub. They literally did better with Sokka than with Katara. An absolute travesty of a character.
They're famously bad at writing women. I still have some serious issues with how they handled his first season arc, some concerns about where they're going to take his character, and one scene in particular that I intend to tear to shreds.
Let's go!
But first, a word of gratitude to Ian Owsley, who—
Oh, dude, Sokka's actor, by the way, killed it. I'm just saying. Dude did really well. For the script he was given, no complaints here.
Plays live-action Sokka and stands out as one of the best actors in the entire show.
I completely
agree. He manages to capture Sokka's goofy yet serious demeanor in a way that is reminiscent of the original, yet he makes the character his own and pulls it off quite well. It's a shame he wasn't given a better script with which to work, but he
Yeah.
definitely elevates the mediocre dialogue far more than most of his counterparts can. All in all, where the
Don't remember how they took the Cave of Two Lovers and they put Sokka and Katara there together because it's problematic because there's an age gap between Aang and Katara. Remember when they did that in Netflix Avatar because they're fucking crazy people? Secret tunnel, secret tunnel. What I say before anal sex every time? Through the mountain, secret, 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 secret tunnel.
writing lets him, Owsley captures the spirit of Sokka without simply mimicking the original performance. And in the first episode, the script itself also holds true to Sokka's character. The scene of him stepping out to face off against Zuko and his soldiers is a testament to Sokka's bravery. It's a great example
He's brave, but he's fucking dumb.
of how to properly adapt a scene from animation to live action. Make it less cartoonish, but keep the thematic and character elements that made the original so meaningful. What
True.
better way to show the audience the quality of Sokka's mettle and Zuko's sense of honor than to have Sokka challenge the Fire Nation Prince to a duel and have Zuko accept? This scene
Yeah, that scene's fine. I don't think anyone had complaints with that scene per se. It was the character arc. It's not just... See, but here's the thing. Netflix saw Sokka and they were like, brave guy. All right, brave guy. And then they put him in there, and then he did absolutely nothing throughout anything because brave guy, unfortunately, does not cut it in a world where you're going up against literal fire wizards.
made me think that maybe, just maybe, despite the incredibly clunky exposition and pointless introductory scenes at the Southern Air Temple, the creators of this show
Dude, this show, they fucking went crazy with the exposition.
knew what they were doing. But having watched the whole season, I now suspect that this scene was written by the original creators, or at least heavily influenced
No, before they left!
by them, and most everything after this, or maybe after the next episode, is the reason they left. Because Sokka's defense of his home here is very much in line with his established character.
All right.
Sokka greatly desires to be the man who defends his tribe, is willing to put his life on the line for those under his protection, and yet isn't fully able to fulfill that duty as he would like due to his youth and inexperience.
Oh my god.
In both your
Whoever wrote this was a boomer. Just a mega boomer that doesn't know what's going on. And they wrote this show, and then they got advised by Sweet Baby Inc. to make him more of a loser.
original and the adaptation, this gives us an excellent starting point for his character. We see the admirable qualities that Sokka has. We observe their imperfections,
And then Amy Schumer took over writing the script.
and we begin to understand how he will need to grow.
Yeah, they make Sokka like, instead of in the original where, you know, Sokka's like a kid, right? And he obviously gets all upset. They make Sokka a bit of a boomer too. Like, Sokka's out there preaching like, wow, you should be more respectful to women. All right, like that equivalent, right? That's crazy. It's insane. It's like, and then when he and Aang are together, oh my god, I'm seeing things. Editor, put the math equation green screen over my head. I figured it all out.
Julie, do the thing.
Sokka's a boomer, and the avatar is Aang. Boomerang!
Don't freak out, it's not real.
Unfortunately,
All right, that joke worked better in my head.
for gas station Sokka, I'm just going to call him Sokka from now on, the nicknames got old. Things start to go a bit downhill after this first episode. Remember that whole kerfuffle about Netflix Sokka's quote-unquote
Yeah.
sexism being toned
Yeah.
down, or rather removed completely?
Yeah.
Well, in the second episode, we see why that character choice was a poor one.
Very poor one! Such a poor character choice! Dude, sexism is shitty, yes, but people having shitty mentalities and growing out of them is so much more powerful of a method and a story than just being perfect women respecters from the beginning that never needed to change at all. Dude, flaws in characters and ironing them out is always better than not having flaws.
First, because it means that obviously the Netflix writing team doesn't understand Sokka. They
No one understands Sokka, you say?
didn't take the time to puzzle out why he would believe that girls are better at fixing pants than guys, and guys are better at hunting and fighting and stuff like that. It's just the natural order of things.
Right? That's an actual quote from Avatar.
I wonder why a 16-year-old boy who lives in a society where all the men have gone off to war,
Exactly.
where
Exactly.
he has taken on the role of patriarch, could hold such horribly sexist beliefs.
Thank you, bro. Again, this is how I prefaced my entire reaction here. This is somebody who came from a culture, and the things that he saw in his life turned his beliefs into this. The story of Avatar gets him to start appreciating the Kyoshi warriors, gets him to start appreciating Katara, gets him to start appreciating characters like Toph, and realizing that everyone has their own skill sets, and your abilities and your strength is not purely decided based on gender, but it's also decided based on what you do with yourself. His strength ended up being in his wit, and his mind, and his bravery, and his leadership qualities, and his passion, and his virtue, his ability to, what the fuck is the word I'm thinking about? His ability to convince people of shit. God, what's the word? I am such a bad, what the frick? What's the word I'm thinking of? He's charismatic! Thank you, holy shit. Charisma, oh my God, I don't know how that word, I just brain farted that word out. He has charisma, bro! Charisma, man! And all these things are important when you're literally a general. Okay? All that stuff is so important. And that's what he uses as his weapons. Not necessarily to say that he could beat Azula in a 1v1 fight. He absolutely can't. But that doesn't matter because his strengths are just as important.
We can't have our protagonists holding viewpoints that naturally derive from their environment and upbringing if they don't match our modern values after.
Which is so fucking insane. Like, why would... Dude, Sokka being sexist is not inherently shitty of him. It's a shitty quality, but it is a process that he developed from the society that he grew up in. Expecting him to have the same values of a 21st century American guy that went to college and university, like, is unhinged, unrealistic, and detracts from the fantasy elements of the world.
After all. Second, and more importantly, because in removing Sokka's "there's no way a bunch of girls took us down" attitude, they also remove his pride and arrogance. The cocky...
And also development. They remove his development too. If you don't establish the flaw, then there's no way to work it out.
Self-assured kid who strolled confidently into the Kyoshi Warriors dojo and bragged about being the best warrior in my village is...
Which was and the funniest thing is, this mindset of his saying that, oh yeah, I'm the GOAT, I'm the best, I'm awesome, call me Ryuga the way I'm the GOAT. He just walks in there, strolls in, and they kick his ass! Like, isn't that better than... You know, dude, this is just fucking sad to me. It's like they killed every single character in this show for the sake of exposition.
Gone. Replaced by a muted, timid, insecure young man. To be honest, if I didn't have the original, I don't know if I would be as critical of this less vibrant version of Sokka, but when you create a derivative work, you're going to be compared to the original story.
Which makes complete sense. That's why everyone tells me that I've been too hard on the Avatar live action because... Like, I should look at it in a vacuum. I can't keep comparing it to the original. I disagree completely. I absolutely should be fucking comparing it to the original. it's literally it's an adaptation of the original. Why would you make it if it's just gonna be worse, right? Like, doesn't that make sense? Like, if you're gonna make it, it should be better, right?
Especially when said story was a masterclass of character work. In the animated show, Sokka had to be broken down, humiliated, shown to be not half the warrior he would have others believe he was, in order to be built back up, and to begin his journey of becoming a truly skilled warrior.
Yeah, because that's what it's actually about. 100% Master Samwise. You are on the money, bro.
His prideful declarations about his own skill and ability had to be proven false in order for his humility to emerge and admit that he needed training. That's largely missing here.
That's his character arc. It's like, yeah, you know the thing that Sokka's been missing for this show? His character arc. Aside from his character arc, though, they did a pretty good job.
Suki shows him up a little bit when she takes her fan and slices through all the melons, and he's like, damn, girl.
Your fruit-killing skills are remarkable.
And then she attacks him when he's not ready, and he taps out and runs away in embarrassment.
Which is just like such a what? How is that, like, gonna... It doesn't even... It makes no sense on a character perspective why that would change his opinions on anything. Because his opinions were never actually said beforehand. Because somehow, live-action adaptation Sokka, alright, bargain basement clone Xerox Sokka over here, apparently has the same fucking mentality and perspectives as... I don't know, your average student to graduate Harvard.
We can see the similarity to the original storyline, but it's just less. It's not necessarily bad, but it doesn't live up to its potential. Simulation Sokka doesn't really have to undergo any meaningful character work. He never places himself above Suki and her warriors, more just on their level. and his discovery that he is not in fact on their level comes in private, not in front of the whole dojo, making the experience and his subsequent return less impactful.
It's not just less impactful, it's completely, it's the antithesis of what his character arc was then. They're making Sokka just a respectful man that he loves and respects women, and he has no flaws at all. And yes, he wasn't the strongest fighter ever, but because of some training in private, he became a badass in his combat ability. When realistically, it's not like his actual headspace changed or evolved at all. I feel like Avatar totally forgot the Netflix totally forgot the one major component in regards to character growth when it comes to the original Avatar, right? The original Avatar had every single character get stronger through the course of the story and as they developed in their personal psychological character arcs, right? Sokka going from a prideful guy to a humble guy, right? For example, or Katara. Katara becoming stronger and becoming more comfortable with herself as a person and all that shit. Now, in Netflix Avatar, every single character arc is just completely driven down and just a derivative of what it was supposed to be, just purely on a power scaling level. Sokka wasn't such a strong fighter, and then he became a stronger fighter! His personality and headspace didn't change at all. He just became a little bit stronger. Same with Katara. The fact that Katara didn't actually learn from her mistakes and her misguided, idealist, passionate outlook on life, she didn't learn from any of that. She was just right all along! Never fooled her own master, the most powerful of all, right? The fact that they did that for both characters really goes to show that I feel like Netflix Avatar thought that these characters' character development purely was strength-based, power scaling based, and not actually emotional or human based.
This mini arc of his has good bones, but it wasn't fleshed out or given color and flavor like it was in the original. Seemingly because the Netflix creators didn't want to make their Sokka sexist, and thus made his character far more lackluster.
They removed every character trait that he has.
Without that dynamic of Sokka puffing out his chest only to have Suki ram it back down, the two are largely missing actual chemistry. If there's one thing this adaptation just does not do well at all, it's write relationships. It has its moments, but overall...
True. I mean, you want proof? They fucking put siblings together in the cave of lovers, okay? The 2-year age gap, that was cringe. But fucking goddamn incest, hells yeah.
Few of the key relational story beats feel earned at all. They just kind of happen. Like when Sorta, Sokka, and Suki start training and really they're just dancing because there's no instruction happening here, no back and forth. The entire point of this scene is for some reason to develop sexual tension between the two.
For some reason, because penis.
Point number 3, why the removal of Sokka's sexism was stupid, it deprived us of the line, I am a warrior, but I'm a girl too.
Which was such a goated line from the original Avatar. I still remember her saying that.
Which accurately describes every female character in Avatar.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because why would Suki say that if Sokka never had to admit that he saw her as just a girl? Right away in the knockoff, he acknowledges that we're both warriors. No shift in his perspective was necessary. He never had to realize that
he never evolved. He literally never evolved. That's the craziest thing. He has started off in the Netflix live action Avatar as a morally and perfect character that all his evolution needed to come purely from strength because he was a pussy bitch. But you see, the thing is, why this removes so much from Sokka is even in the actual Avatar, even the actual Avatar, he wasn't some crazy fighter.
That this girl was in fact a warrior, and then realized that Suki was and is both. I mean, the entire point of Katara's arc, according to this show, is that women can be warriors.
Oh god, don't remind us. Don't remind me about Katara's arc! Dude, the fact that Katara ended up not getting a master, just training herself to be strong, and Zuko says to her, wow, you found a master, didn't you? And Katara's response to Zuko is, I am my own master. Still makes my balls shrivel.
Clearly okay having Pakku believe otherwise, but oh, not Sokka. Not our precious Sokka. And Pakku changes his mind, so why couldn't Sokka? I just don't understand that writing decision. It removed so much flavor from the Kyoshi episode, which is supposed to be a defining story beat for the early stage of Sokka's character arc. However, in the interest of fairness, the Netflix show does not botch this episode entirely. I maintain that it mainly fails because it is just so much less than the original, despite the Kyoshi storyline runtime.
I don't know. I know that everyone criticizes me when I talk about adaptations to say that I should be talking about it in a vacuum. In a vacuum, it's not bad. Guess what? It's not in a vacuum, okay? You stop it. In a vacuum, sexism isn't bad, right? It's not bad in a vacuum for the sake of the show, right? It's not bad. It's only bad because, you know, there are real-life consequences to this shit. And it sucks when people are actually sexist in real life, right? So suddenly, because of real-life consequences, inside the show, sexist things are cringe, right? Like, nothing exists in a vacuum. This all exists as complementary to your whole goddamn life. And yes, that includes the fact that this is a derivative work, a completely derivative work of something that exists and is great. Dude, One Piece live action was so good because it wasn't exactly what One Piece was, but it carried the spirit of it. I would say that the One Piece live action was just as good, even though albeit different, than the first arc of One Piece.
Being longer than the original's episode, but some bits do genuinely hit home. For example, when Suki tells Clarence Sokka that not being a bender means we have to be even better than benders.
That's not the moral, bro! You will never be better! Dude, Sokka, you can train for 1,000 years. You will never beat Katara. And that's fine, because your strengths come elsewhere. Your strengths are in your head, not in your fighting ability. But Netflix is like, no, you can be better if you're a ninja.
We have to fight with what we have. What matters is not the power, it's the will and desire. The heart. Hey, that's pretty good. That line gets to the core of why Sokka is such an incredible character in the animated show.
The will and heart,
His determination and perseverance drive him to adapt, fight, and lead, even though he's just the guy in the group that's regular.
True.
Suki's line here is reminiscent of Piandao's comments. Creativity, versatility, intelligence. These are the traits that define a great swordsman. It suggests that Sokka can learn to become a great warrior despite his natural disadvantage if he fights for a worthy cause and applies himself with all the fervor and dedication he can muster. And the next scene is even a nice little payoff for this setup. What Avatar fan doesn't want to see Suki and Sokka working as a team to take down some firebenders?
It was fan service. I mean, let's not make believe this wasn't just fan service, right? Also, the firebenders, for some reason, in the Netflix live-action Avatar, literally acted like fucking putties from Power Rangers, okay? They were running around, little flames everywhere. No one gets burned, okay? Aside from Monkey Atso. No one gets burned in this fucking show.
Sokka even pulls off a fireball deflection with a borrowed fan.
For some reason, he's able to do that. You can deflect fireballs with fans now.
And steps out to face down Zhao, boomerang in hand, before Aang/Kyoshi arrives. So, at this point, yeah, the show has stumbled and is significantly less than the original in its character work, but has still been holding somewhat true to Sokka's original character, and even seems to be...
I disagree. I think it wasn't even holding true to his original character there. Like, it's holding true to what his character was supposed to become. It's not holding true to what his character was at the beginning. And there's a very big difference. Like, we all know who Sokka is at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And it's very, very much implied heavily that the Sokka in episode 2 of the Netflix Avatar is the same as the Sokka at the very end of his character arc in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon. They literally tried to take him to the end gate from the very beginning without actually having to do any of the legwork, which I think completely emasculates this character.
Be going in the right direction. But in the next episode, things begin to go awry. The Mechanist comments how Xerox Sokka's dad must be proud of his ingenuity, but Sokka replies, Dad doesn't really pay attention to stuff like this. He's got more important things to worry about. He's a warrior. Of engineering, Sokka says, this is just a hobby. My role is to protect the village and be a warrior, just like Dad. Did I miss something here? Was there some world building that escaped me that one could not be both an engineer and a warrior? Why has this show suddenly taken on this simplistic single-track vision of Sokka's character?
Because there was no other character. That when you discard all the personal growth that Sokka had to go through, at that point, what are you gonna do? Right? You're gonna have to give him some sort of struggle or some sort of perspective, and I guess it'll be just making fun of the ass-backwards society of the Water Tribe in every way that isn't sexist.
The stuff like this that Hakoda apparently doesn't pay attention to was a design to make the tribe's ice-dodging ships more maneuverable. Surely the leader of a tribe whose very existence depends on their ability to catch fish while avoiding ice flows would see the value in enabling their ships to more easily
Obviously they would do that. They just had to come up with some bullshit reason for him to struggle and have daddy issues. Because he has nothing else to struggle about, because he's a morally perfect character.
icebergs, or, fireballs. Why paint Hakoda as some stodgy, single-minded brute whose only occupation is fighting?
Are you trying to increase our naval capabilities? Wow, when you could be doing push-ups.
As if being the patriarch of the Southern...
In the cartoon, Sokka's dad used engineering to fight the Fire Nation in the war on the Black Sunday, bro.
Water Tribe wouldn't require him to be far more than that. The false dichotomy of warrior versus engineer that this scene brings up is just flat out unnecessary.
It's unnecessary, and also it's worse than nothing, right? It's not true. It's a slap in the face to the actual technology and perspective that these characters actually had until this point. It is a net negative for the world building. It just needed to be here because it comes in because of the fact that Sokka actually had nothing else. Sokka had nothing else going for him.
There's no reason for this conflict to exist. Sokka can be a warrior and an inventor/engineer, because people can be more than one thing, Netflix. Katara was not supposed to just be a waterbender, and Sokka can be more than just an engineer and more than just a warrior. You just told us in the previous episode how Sokka can develop into a great warrior. If you want to have him struggle with seeing the worth in his inventive side, that's fine. Just don't present this nonsensical either-or situation. So that scene was kind of weird and didn't follow from Sokka's previous scenes, but it could get better from there, right? Well, I'm skipping over the next...
I don't know, I completely disagree. I am just one thing, asshole. Asshole is my only thing. I don't have any other things aside from that. Definitely subscribe for more asshole, because that's all I am, that one thing. I was thinking about being another thing, and then I decided, no, you can only be one thing.
Next episode entirely, because there's no point in talking about his journey through the Cave of Two Lovers with Katara, because
they paired him up with Katara. They killed that episode. Nothing
meaningful happens, and I really wish that wasn't the case. The original show absolutely dripped with meaning in basically every scene.
There was no episode that fell flat in the original Avatar.
Clearly that is not an easy feat to replicate. Oh, I guess Katara does yell, "You're not dad!" at Sokka during their argument. That is happening for reasons I can't explain, because these two characters don't have a relationship that follows any sort of sensible order. But I thought I'd mention that line because it ties into the next scene, which we'll discuss. The one which I intend to tear into tiny little shreds.
Let's go.
I am, of course, referring to Sokka's spirit world-induced flashback to the day he passed his ice dodging trials, even though he, in his own words, lost control, and Bato had to step in and save them from death by shipwreck. But Sokka is granted the Mark of the Wise in recognition of his having passed the trial by his own father. So, let me get this straight. The leader of this tribe that lives in the frigid conditions of the South Pole and only survives through their ability to adapt to the harsh conditions, is willing to let Sokka pass because it would hurt his feelings if he failed?
Oh, fuck. I didn't get this far in the Netflix Avatar. Oh my god, dude. Are you serious? Brother, ain't no way, bro. Nepotism, baby. What? This man literally has no purpose.
Why is Hakoda letting Sokka's failure go? Even if the past failed?
They hated Hakoda. They hated him in the Netflix Avatar. Oh my god, remember Hakoda, the guy that literally invented the aquatic bombs, the tangle bombs, the tangle mines to fight the firebender ships? Remember Hakoda, the inventor from the original Avatar that they literally ass blasted in front of the entire audience for this adaptation?
The whole thing is just symbolic. Why not keep teaching the kid? I'm not sure exactly how old Sokka is supposed to be in this flashback. I guess maybe 12 or 13. And he couldn't be much older than that since their dad went off to war a good bit ago. So why act like this failure is final? What kind of terrible leader and terrible father tells their kid, "You did great," when in fact he almost got them all killed?
True. So true. Honestly, incredibly freaking true.
And then doesn't even bother trying to teach him anything, to rectify his mistakes. Hakoda is not supposed to be a lax and uncaring father. He's a
Hakoda was a badass.
Loving father thrust into an impossible situation, whose decision, although seemingly necessary, still causes a rift between himself and his kids. This decision by Hoax Hakoda just makes no sense.
Dude, they literally kill every character. I can't believe it. Do they have a single character that actually plays through the correct plot lines that their original character went through? It's like they needed to make some sort of rift between freaking Sokka and Hakoda. So they do it this way? for no reason, purely because of pride. He passes his son. What?
Even if this is right before he leaves for war, and the tribe needs an appointed leader, though that's probably not the context the writers had in mind, otherwise they would have had someone exposit such facts, this just seems completely unnecessary. No good parent is ever that fake with their children. It's bullshit. But oh, it gets worse.
God, don't even tell. Oh my God, I am not ready for this. Oh Lord, oh God, oh no.
Sokka overhears Hakoda tell Bato, the truth is, not everyone is meant to have people's lives in their hands. Well, that's it. Great job, show. You had something at least kind of good going for you, but you f***ing ruined it. Okay, so there are two ways to view this scene, knowing what we know about the fact which, as told by Wan Shitong, reveals the truth that is too heavy a burden for humans to bear. First viewpoint. The awful truth that Sokka must face is that his father doesn't believe in him, doesn't think he can be a leader like Hakoda is.
Then why'd he give him the fucking thing? Why did you pronounce him a leader?
Of course, this scene has just shown us that Hakoda himself is a truly terrible leader because he's willing to lie to his son's face about his abilities in order to not hurt his feelings or something.
Which is awful parenting.
Option number one sucks, mostly because it assassinates Hakoda's character, but at least it allows room for Sokka's growth, for him to prove that what his father believes about him is false, that he is worthy of having people entrust him with their lives. The second viewpoint would be that Hakoda is correct, that Sokka is not meant to have people's lives in his hands, is not meant to be
Which is also cringe because that's his entire character. It's not like he's meant to be a fighter.
Protector, is not meant to be a warrior, is not meant to be a leader, which fuck off, show.
Dude, that's literally going against his entire character.
Sokka is the leader of Team Avatar. He's not the most skilled or the most important or the strongest or any other superlative, but he is their leader. He's their guiding.
He's the glue that holds them together. He's the guy he's the plan guy. All right, he's the sometimes snarky and sometimes comedic plan guy.
Force. He is the one in whom they trust the most. You want proof? Watch Toph, the most independent of them all, totally trust him as she dangles hundreds of feet in the air. The idea that he somehow—
Dude, great example, right? Toph is completely blind and in the air.
How isn't and never will be worthy of safeguarding the lives of others is simply ludicrous. If that is the truth which the show wants us to believe Sokka must accept, then I simply do not trust it to do anything right from now on until forever.
Holy shit. That's insane. That's absolutely mind-boggling that they went ahead and did that. I'm shaken to my core. Are they completely killed his character arc in one episode, and then in the next episode, they basically completely kill his character.
Sokka's whole arc is him learning how to grow into the warrior, the protector, the man he desperately wants to be, but doing so in ways that surprise, challenge, and humble him.
Yeah.
This whole not everyone is meant to have people's lives in their hands completely undermines the entire point of the original character. But that is assuming that viewpoint number 2 is true, and Hakoda isn't just a bad father. He's a bad father no matter what, according to this show, but at least he's wrong about Sokka according to one interpretation of this scene. Either way, this scene is terrible. It takes the original's ice dodging trial, in which Sokka used his natural ingenuity and the power of teamwork to pass, and flips it on its head, crushing Sokka's character arc in the process.
Completely annihilating this man. I can't believe it. I'm like actually so perturbed.
All the missteps taken by the adaptation, this one feels the most mean-spirited. However, let's consider viewpoint 1 again. Is that how this show wants us to perceive this scene? Does it want us to believe that Sokka merely needs to face the truth that his dad doesn't believe in him? Well, Hakoda quite literally says, the truth is, not everyone is meant to have people's lives in their hands, in a flashback presented to us as Sokka having to face an uncomfortable truth. The adaptation isn't exactly subtle in its messaging.
Oh
telling
god,
Sokka,
that is so on the nose. Holy shit. I feel like this, again, Netflix is conflating power with everything. They think that all growth is purely, completely on a power metric, right? That Katara's character development, she becomes stronger. Aang's character development, he masters the elements. Sokka's character development, he trains to become a great fighter, right? They completely interpret that in every way. So in this show, the great truth that he has to face is that he'll never become a great leader because every positive growth in this show is completely power-based. And the main lesson for Sokka's character in Avatar, the cartoon, is that it's not all about pure strength and fighting ability. There's so much more that goes than that goes into making a man.
Truth that will destroy you, and then having his father say the truth is might be square on the nose, but that's entirely in line with this show's storytelling style. Okay, but counterpoint. At the North Pole, Yue tells Sokka that she remembers how, in the spirit world, he was worried about his friends. Your heart, she tells him. That's what sets you apart. That's what makes you a warrior. I have a feeling if your father saw you now, he would agree. Putting aside the fact that Sokka mentions his friends once during that spirit world conversation, and his own mild injuries twice, this suggests that
God damn it. Don't poke holes in the one. Oh no, they're trying so hard to freaking float.
Sokka is meant to be a warrior and a leader. Kind of a weird road to get here, but okay, fine. I guess I can work with it. But wait, remember the Mechanist conversation? How does that fit in here? This seems to...
It doesn't! It literally doesn't! It's coming up with excuses to form some sort of issue and rift between him and his dad. They changed his character arc to daddy issues incarnate. In one episode, you see, engineering is not a great warrior. Oh, leadership, I will not be a great leader. Oh, believing in my friends, my heart, wow, I am truly a leader. It's all trying to hit daddy issues from different angles. Oh my god.
Provide evidence that viewpoint 2 is correct, that Sokka is meant to be an engineer rather than a warrior, regardless of how silly that dichotomy is. And now that I think about it, Sokka being an engineer, inventor, and idea guy only really comes up in the Omashu episode when he makes a couple of suggestions to the Mechanist. He doesn't do anything else remotely inventive in the rest of the season. By comparison, in Book 1, Sokka has ideas for the Earthbrender's prison break, he shows ingenuity in his ice/rock dodging trial, and then he helps the actual Mechanists with his hot air balloon and explosive gas problem in the northern...
Because he's fucking smart. He goes out of his way to do things that are different. He's not your traditional warrior, but that's what works.
Air Temple. If this show wanted to have this engineer-warrior mutual exclusivity, then you could have at least shown Sokka to be inventive at any point after he leaves Omashu, but that scene just kind of hangs there. And to further pile on in Viewpoint 2's favor, after the battle is over, the Northern Chief tells Sokka, you don't have to be a warrior to be a hero.
Which at this point is, what the hell is that differentiation?
This happens after Sokka watches Yue sacrifice herself, and apparently him being there was a big comfort to Yue, even though she clearly didn't need him at all since she froze his feet to prevent him from stopping her as she waded into the pool. I feel like the writers went, crap, people are going to want us to have Sokka do something significant. Quick, have someone tell him he did something good.
Oh my god, dude. You were a real comfort when she sacrificed herself. Oh, well that's huge. Yeah, I am useful.
Which is appropriate, considering that most of what serves as Sokka's character growth in this show is just people saying things. The Mechanist...
Fuck, true. He doesn't actually do anything. He doesn't evolve. He doesn't evolve at all through the course of the show. Has Sokka changed at all from episode 1 to episode 8 of the live-action Avatar? I don't think he, as a person, has changed even one iota.
Tells him he's a gifted engineer. Sokka tells the Mechanist Hakoda doesn't care about his dad tells him, though indirectly, that he's not meant to be trusted with the lives of others. Yue and Suki tell him that his heart is what makes him or can make him a great warrior. And the Northern Chief tells him he doesn't have to be a warrior. As with the lack of actual inventing or engineering.
That's actually so concerning. Dude, it's so wrong that the show needs to develop like this. It's like, why is that the differentiation they're making? His heart isn't even the main point of what makes him a warrior in the cartoon. Is Netflix trying to do some weird gender role flippage where, oh yeah, it turns out Katara's the warrior and, well, Sokka isn't? Is that the lesson here that Netflix is trying to give you? Because in the actual Avatar cartoon, both Katara and Sokka ended up being warriors. They just ended up being fundamentally different on the battlefield. You know, Sokka came up with strategies. Sokka invented plans. Sokka was, like, made inventions, right? These things definitely contributed to the war effort. I would say that definitely qualifies you as a warrior. He was a leader. Katara was a warrior through, you know, magic water powers, okay? Two warriors that both tackled being a warrior in a different way, right? Now, the crazy thing is, in the actual cartoon for Avatar, they both became warriors. However, both of their warriors were subversions of your expectations. This is not how Katara viewed herself as a warrior, and this is not how Sokka viewed himself as a warrior in the first episode, but they developed into that by learning more about themselves, right? It feels like Netflix is just trying to say, like, oh, we'll just flip the gender roles, and we'll make Katara a warrior because she's a great fighter, and wow, the bleeding heart of Sokka. What a big heart he has. He's not a warrior at all. He has a big heart. He can't be trusted to have leadership responsibilities. Oh, we're just gonna make him not a warrior. I feel like that's even more accurate of, honestly, I think that's a more accurate take as to what Netflix is trying to do here. I think they're just literally flipping these roles here, saying that the twist for each character isn't what their actual character development is. The twist for Katara is that she's a woman and a warrior, and the twist for Sokka is that he has a big heart. Like, what the fuck? That's horrible.
Sokka also doesn't do much fighting. If you're going to have Sokka's critical character choice be am I or am I not a warrior, you should probably show him fighting or trying to fight more than twice. After the second episode's fight scene, which was actually quite good, he doesn't have any occasion to whoop out Boomerang. Even when Team Avatar assaults the Fire Nation ship at the beginning of the finale.
I know, I remembered that when I watched the first episode. I think that was even in my reaction to the first episode.
Sokka's would-be opponents in the ship's bridge just leave for some reason right before he gets there.
Yeah, he doesn't actually do anything. He pulls out his fucking club, but it's not like he...
Because you know how ship captains leave the helm unattended when they're being attacked? I guess they didn't want...
He just walks in and he starts banging the fucking ship. Just starts whacking shit.
...to have Sokka actually fight anyone because they knew they were about to tell him that he doesn't need to be a warrior.
I'm so sad. My heart's actually breaking right now. This is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Look how they emasculated my boy. They really tried to go so hard down the route of making him not a warrior, when that is not his character arc. The beauty of Sokka in the cartoon was that he was a warrior. He was a warrior. He just became a warrior through his inventions and his big brain. Here, it was like, oh no, the differentiation is, he ain't a warrior, he just got a big heart. Sokka needs to be a stay-at-home dad and not do warrior things.
So, to quickly recap, Sokka is brave but untrained in episode 1, is mildly humbled but not really broken down. It doesn't have to do much character growth, but still receives some training and encouragement in episode 2, appearing to continue along the warrior's path. Then he takes a step off that path and toward the destination of engineerhood in
whatever the fuck difference that is.
episode 3, doesn't do a damn thing in episode 4, gets completely derailed from the warrior path in episode 5, isn't even in episode 6, receives more encouragement regarding his warriorhood in episode 7, reminiscent of that he received in the second episode, as if the third and fifth episodes hadn't happened, and then in the finale gets told he doesn't need to be a warrior after all.
That is the worst character development I've ever seen. That is the worst. I can't believe it. I'm lost for words.
And then he immediately turns around and tells Aang, this is war. Yeah, genius, it is. And do you know what war needs? I'll give you a hint. I've said the word like 100 times in this video. I honestly don't think Netflix had any real idea what to do with Sokka's character.
Because you take out the sexism and character development, and suddenly you just got a mishmash of a man.
Writers seem to want him to have this arc where he realized that his father's warrior's ways need not be his, that he can contribute to the world by more than just protecting others by fighting firebenders, but that's undercut pretty severely by his scene with Suki, his scene with Yue, and, you know, the fact that he very much does need to be a warrior because that's what the situation demands, just like Hakoda had to be a warrior. Neither of them chose to go to war, They were thrust into it by events outside their control. Having
insane. I'm so sad right now.
Someone choose to reject the path that has been laid out for him only makes sense if his very duty doesn't lie along that same path. I get the sense that they wanted him to have this arc because, you know, subverted gender roles and all that. Katara can be a warrior, but Sokka doesn't have to be because here at Netflix we have truly original ideas.
That's crazy. And it's crazy. It's so, I'm so sad. I'm so mad. I like, oh my god, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. Literally the worst thing ever.
If you're going along the route of Sokka's character arc being that he can learn to be a great warrior / engineer / leader, even if his dad doesn't believe in him, you need to do more work to establish Hakoda and Sokka's relationships than that one line in the Omashu episode and this atrocious flashback. You know, maybe show how and why their relationship struggles, but as I've noted—
Nah, he just ain't a warrior. He's got a big heart. His heart is worth so much. He doesn't even need to be a warrior because of his heart is so big. What a big heart he has. That's why he loves women so much, because of his heart.
This show just cannot write relationships. Which is unfortunate, because the characters and their varied and complex relationships—
This is unforgivable. I don't think I can ever look at Netflix the same way after looking at Sokka a little deeper here and what they did to this man.
With each other form the very core of the original.
Sweet Baby Ink fucking punching the air right now. Probably got hired for this shit.
Original show. While Netflix managed to capture the essence of Sokka in a few brief moments, it's clear that the writers just didn't understand or want to understand his character.
Or care. They were much more excited about the funny gender role shit than the actual character.
This story of a boy becoming a man through the development of virtue, the aid of his friends, and a healthy relationship with his father apparently wasn't acceptable to them. I wonder why.
That's crazy. I'm so mad. I am so mad. This is worse than Katara. I know he said Katara's was worse, but I think this is even worse. I think both are unforgivable. Unforgivable bastardization of fantastic characters. And yes, you're right. In a vacuum, maybe it wouldn't hurt me as badly, but it's the intent that went in here, right? There is intent, right? They saw Sokka's character arc and character development, and they intentionally walked in and fucking kicked him in the balls. They emasculated my boy. If you made it to the end, click one of these two videos, which also will definitely get me canceled. See you live on Kink. Stay weird, fam.